VON Radio from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
From the VON Newsline, this is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening, I am Tashan Tyson, in with your VON Major News Package for today, Tuesday, July 23rd, 2019. In our lead stories, nationally, 2019 Independence Team selected, and ECCB launches digital currency pilot in St. Kitts. Regionally, Antigua's PM launches renewed attack on Digicela's fight over spectrum intensifies. Internationally, Boris Johnson wins race to be sworn in tomorrow as PM. And in sports, Chris Gayle says he will continue for 5 more years international cricket. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, VON.
Welcome back. Another national news in detail. Unify, Transform, Enrich, Uplifting Communities for Independence 36. That's the winning theme for St. Kitts and Nevis's 36th anniversary of independence. The theme was penned by Travis Bell, who is currently pursuing studies in higher education in the United States. Chairman of the Independence Organizing Committee and Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education in St. Kitts, Mr. William Hodge, contacted Mr. Bell and assured him that the committee would be in further contact with him. Last year's winner of the theme competition for Independence St. Kitts and Nevis, Yvette Slack, penned the theme Love, Service, Patriotism and Pride, Independence 35. St. Kitts and Nevis gained independence on September 19, 1983. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, has embarked upon a digital currency pilot project in St. Kitts and Nevis. That's according to Research Officer, Strategic Planning and Projects Department, ECCB, Karen St. Omar. She made the announcement last Friday at a media informational session on ECCB Digital EC Currency project at the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. The project will be mainly deployed within at least 4 pilot countries. The other countries are namely Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, and St. Lucia. According to St. Omar, we've selected St. Kitts and Nevis based on interest from financial institutions within the region. She said currently, the ECCU is in its 5th month of the development and exploration phase in these countries, adding that the digital currency pilot's key objectives are to create value in banking and protecting customer data, among others. The ECCB plans on reducing the use of cash by 50% and checks by 80% by the year 2025 and beyond. The ECCB Central Bank Digital Currency Pilot is the first of its kind. Following the recent power outages here on Nevis, the Nevis Electricity Company Limited, NEVLEC, has issued a statement to shed some light on the situation. The statement reads, and I quote, NEVLEC is aware of the situation at Fernhill Estate Development, where the residents have been without electricity for the past few days. We have been advised that this was due to a compromise in the underground cable network, which is privately owned. As more and more homes were built in that development, the underground system apparently was unable to handle the load, thus causing the outage. This outage was not caused by NEVLEC, end quote. According to the statement, NEVLEC usually provides a direct source of electricity to individual homes and properties, but the Fernhill development utilizes a different electrical distribution framework, namely underground cabling, which is owned by a private entity. NEVLEC supplies the electricity to a transformer owned by the private entity at Fernhill Development, and the private owner of the development governs the distribution to the individual homes and properties. The electrical framework at Fern Hill Development was built and maintained by the private entity and not NEVLEC. Therefore, NEVLEC's responsibility is to bring the electricity to the transformer and not directly to the individual homes. NEVLEC is, however, pleased to advise that the matter has been resolved as of Sunday, July 21st, and electricity has been restored to the Fernhill Estates community. The company also apologized for the loss of service and assured the Fernhill community that it continues to stand ready and willing to provide regular and reliable service. The Ministry of Health in St. Kitts has issued a statement regarding the recent death of a baby at the JNF General Hospital. The statement reads in part, and I quote, "The attention of the JNF General Hospital and the Ministry of Health has been drawn to the circumstances surrounding the recent passing of an infant at the institution and the social media posts that have been in circulation since July 14, 2019. The Executive Management Committee of the JNF General Hospital and the Ministry of Health are using this medium to convey deepest condolences to the mother of the infant and the relatives on the loss of their loved one. Our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family at this very difficult time. The Ministry of Health is also using this opportunity to underscore commendation to the staff members who provided medical care to the infant and the mother." End quote. The statement added that the ministry divorces itself from the social media posts that were made on Sunday, July 14th. The Ministry of Health assured the general public that the staff members at the maternity ward, JNF General Hospital, are called upon to be professional and committed to the ethical code that governs the medical profession. The staff have all signed the oath of confidentiality, which demands a respect for patients' private information, which must be held in the strictest confidence, and the staff members continuously receive in-service training to ensure the delivery of standard level of medical care to all patients. Pharmaceutical products or medication utilized at the JNF General Hospital are procured through the OECS Pharmaceutical Procurement System, PPS. The Ministry of Health contributes monetarily to this pooled procurement system to ensure the availability of essential medication at all times. However, the situation has caused uproar in the Federation, with individuals stating that conditions at the medical institutions around St. Kitts have deteriorated due to ministerial neglect and lack of medication. The Nevis Theatre Guild, NTG, will continue its Dramatic Arts Festival event, which is in collaboration with the Cultural Secretariat. The festival began on Sunday, July 21st at the Nevis Performing Arts Center, NEPAC, at 8 p.m. Carol Curtis is a member of the Nevis Theatre Guild, NTG.
Wednesday, we're having Nevis, the burial of Miss Caitlin, which is Nevis Theatre Guild, the host. Friday night, we're having a repeat of the burial of Miss Caitlin with Blacker Ellis out of Jamaica. And Saturday, we're having comedy specials with Chesley Manners, Cheryl Sutton, Adela Mead, and Blacker Ellis again. So we're looking for more attendance. We're looking for Nevis John Skittisons to come out and have fun, support the Nevis Theatre Guild.
Member of the Nevis Theatre Guild, NTG, Carol Curtis. The Honeybee Theatre of Antigua, NTG, and Next Generation of Nevis, and Ololin Tatum of St. Kitts are also featured in the festival. The event will end on Saturday, July 27th. The MV Game Changer, a new vessel which was launched last Thursday, July 18th, will now be serving the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and visitors alike. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Colleen Henry Morton, spoke on behalf of the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Lindsay Grant, and said the ministry is always pleased to see citizens adding to the tourism product. Director of Yachting, Mr. Enias Hollins, said entrepreneurs such as Captain Derek Williams help to expose visitors to the beauty of the island and enhance the tourism product. Coastal View Charter's Captain Derek Ricky Williams used the opportunity to express gratitude to the Ministry of Tourism and all persons who assisted and supported his business ventures. The The MV Game Changer measures 31 feet in length and seats approximately 70 passengers. And finally, the Ministry of National Security Social Intervention Program, the Explorers Youth Club Initiative, launched another club, the Newtown Explorers Group, on Sunday, July 21st. The Newtown Explorers became the 9th club to be launched across St. Kitts under the Social Intervention Program. This also falls under the umbrella of the Ministry's broader community policing initiative. The club was launched during a ceremony at the Newtown playing field, which was attended by Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris, Parliamentary Representative for East Bastia, the Honorable Ian Patches Liburd, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Mr. Esmond Petty. Most participants of the Newtown Explorers Group are students of Newtown Primary School. The group has almost 100 participants. This also comes on the heels of the launch of the Trinity Explorers Group on July 14, 2019. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Ladies and gentlemen, this here's another one for the steppers.
Swipe to win big in 2019. That's right, the Bank of Nevis Limited is once again giving you, our valued customers, a chance to win big. Just swipe or use your Bond Visa credit card for US $100 for a chance to win a cruise for two, an iPhone XS, or a grocery dash at Best Buy Supermarket.
Say what?
Sign up for a Bond Visa credit card and automatically be entered for a chance to win. This offer ends August 31st, 2019. So tell your friends and family, just swipe to win big with the Bank of Nevis. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram.
Welcome back. Now the regional news in detail out of Antigua. Prime Minister Gaston Brown has rolled up his sleeves and launched a renewed attack on the Irish-owned telecommunications provider Digicel as the fight intensifies to ensure that the Antigua Public Utilities Authority, APUAA, obtains a slice of the existing 850 megahertz spectrum currently being utilized by the other two companies operating in the country. Brown drew the battle line on Saturday by announcing a two-pronged approach that the government has adopted going forward and declaring that it is a political issue and we have to fight them politically. He explained that the government has decided to counter-sue Digicel in particular, which has secured a high court order preventing the government from sharing with APUA any of the 850 megahertz spectrum it has been allocated. When the order was secured in May, Digicel stated that it had taken the legal action because it wanted to shield its customers from significant service disruption and a negative impact on coverage. However, during an interview on his radio station on Saturday, Brown said, Digicel are the ones which have most of the lucrative spectrum, and again, it is a national asset. They have a lease on this asset until next year, so worst case scenario is that we wait until next year to deal with them. Out of Jamaica. The Real Estate Board, REB, Commission of Strata Corporation, CSC, is clamping down on unregistered real estate developers who are selling properties illegally. Chief Executive Officer of the Real Estate Board, Commission of Strata Corporation, Sandra Garrick, for the second time in 2019, we have had a conviction for an unregistered developer, and both cases are now at the sentencing process. According to Caribbean 360, The CEO added that the Real Estate Board Commission of Strata Corporation is committed to ensuring that if developers fail to register, they will answer to the law. Garrick added that in one of the cases, units were being marketed and sold in an unregistered scheme for which the developer had not yet acquired land. She also encouraged purchasers to do their due diligence when buying property. Garrick pointed out that there are times when the REB may give a developer tentative approval but will not grant the approval to market the units. Puerto Rico is in the midst of political and economic turmoil, with billions of dollars in debt and still recovering from Hurricane Maria, while legislators push for statehood. In this uncharted terrain, U.S. Department of Commerce is investing $1.2 million in Puerto Rico's Opportunity Zone. Based on an article from CaribbeanNewsNow.com, Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross was quoted as saying, "Even 2 years later, President Donald Trump is working diligently every day to help rebuild Puerto Rico's economy after the devastation of Hurricanes Irma and Maria." Current protests, action, and calls for Puerto Rico's Governor Ricardo Rossello to resign amid corruption and scandal has fallen on deaf ears. Rising unemployment, migration, jobless rate of 8.5%, poverty and equality, the debt crisis, mismanagement of the economy, money laundering, theft, wire fraud, conspiracy, and contempt amid indictments are major factors for thousands of protesters that have jammed the streets in San Juan. Approximately $20 billion in disaster funds from the Department of Housing and Urban Development has been assigned, but only $1.5 billion is approved for spending. Unfortunately, the flow of money is slow and will cause dire economic repercussions. Currently, Puerto Rico's population of 3.2 million face dire economic stagnation and dependence on the federal government for the inflow of money and debt relief. But so far, local government reform measure is lacking. Out of Barbados. Following 2 recent shark attacks on American tourists, one of whom died as a result, Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar said he believes that tourism excursions industry will take transformative measures to protect itself. In June, an American woman died after being attacked by sharks in waters off Rose Island. Earlier this month, another American man was attacked in waters off Abaco. Following the attacks, popular Bahamian excursion company Stewart's Cove, which specializes in underwater adventures including shark dives, experienced a dip in business. Mr. De Aguilar said it's hard to say how the shark attacks will affect tourism numbers. However, CaribbeanNewsNow.com quoted him as saying, "We have to recognize that someone has suffered a tragic loss, but I always say we have 6.6 million foreign visitors come to our country, and there are going to be accidents." And finally, the Caribbean Netherlands, namely Saba, St. Eustatius, and Bonaire, have signed an agreement to ban the use of single-use plastic. Based on an article from SaberNews.com, the intention is, with help from the central government, to quickly put an end to the use of single-use plastic in the Caribbean Netherlands. No later than 2021, the 3 islands want to stop using single-use plastic. This is an important step to keep the islands clean, to prevent plastic soup, and with this, to protect the nature on and around the islands. For the islands, this is the next step to deal better with waste and resources. That's it for regional stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back, and all the international news in detail. Boris Johnson has been elected the new Conservative leader in a ballot of party members and will become the next UK Prime Minister. He beat Jeremy Hunt comfortably, winning 92,153 votes to his rival's 46,656. The former London mayor takes over from Theresa May on Wednesday. In his victory speech, Mr. Johnson promised he would deliver Brexit, unite the country, and defeat Jeremy Corbyn. According to the BBC, he stated that Brexit will be done on October 31st. Here is Mr. Johnson speaking at the Queen Elizabeth II Centre in London.
We are going to energise the country. We're going to get Brexit done on October the 31st. We're going to take advantage of all the opportunities that it will bring in a new spirit of can-do. And we are once again going to believe in ourselves and what we can achieve. And like some slumbering giant, we are going to rise and ping off the guy ropes of self-doubt and negativity. With better education, better infrastructure, more police, we are going to unite this amazing country.
Former Chinese Premier Li Peng has died at the age of 90, state media have announced. Mr. Li died on Monday evening in Beijing after an unspecified illness, state news agency Xinhua said. He served in several of the top positions in China in the 1980s and 1990s. However, he was best known as the Butcher of Beijing for his role in the Tiananmen Square crackdown on pro-democracy protesters in 1989. The BBC's Celia Hatton reports.
The official announcement from the Chinese state media praised Li Peng as an outstanding member of the ruling Communist Party. But across China, Mr. Li had long been known as the Butcher of Beijing. In the years following the brutal crackdown on pro-democracy protests in Tiananmen Square, it emerged that Mr. Li was the senior official who advocated for force to be used to shut down the protests. It's still a state secret how many died on June 4th, 1989.
The French city of Bordeaux has hit its highest temperature since records began, according to the country's national forecaster. On Tuesday, Meteo France registered 41.2 degrees Celsius in the southwestern city, breaking a 2003 record of 40.7 degrees Celsius. Forecasters predict a record-breaking run across Europe this week in the continent's second summer heat wave. A World Meteorological Organization spokesperson said the heat wave bore the hallmark of climate change. Much of France has been issued with an orange alert, the second highest level of warning. Meteo France said Paris temperatures might hit new highs on Thursday. The record set in 1947 stands at 40.4 degrees Celsius. An Eritrean man was wounded in the stomach in a drive-by shooting in central Germany in what police have condemned as a xenophobic attack. The gunman targeted his victim completely at random and purely because of the skin color, said Frankfurt prosecutor Alexander Badel. A 55-year-old man whom police believed to be the gunman was found dead in a car with a bullet wound to his head. Police believe he killed himself and they found weapons at his home. Though the attack was being seen as racist, German authorities have warned against links to the far-right group. And finally, Huawei has cut more than 600 jobs at its U.S. research unit, FutureWare, after Washington put the Chinese firm on a trade backlist. The telecoms giant said the job cuts were due to the curtailment of business operations caused by the U.S. Washington added Huawei to its entity list in May, which restricts its ability to trade with U.S. firms. Tensions between the U.S. and China over trade and Huawei have escalated this year. Based in California, FutureWare is a research and development subsidiary of Huawei. In a statement, Huawei said FutureWare Telecommunication Technologies announces a reduction in force, directly impacting over 600 U.S. positions, effective July 22nd. The company said the job losses followed the curtailment of its business operations in the U.S. after Huawei and 68 subsidiaries were placed on the U.S. entity list. Washington's clampdown on Huawei is part of a wider conflict simmering between the U.S. and China. The two countries have been fighting a trade war for the past year, imposing tariffs on billions of dollars worth of one another's goods. That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
Get the hottest summer deal on your vehicle from TDC Automotive and pay no deposit. Finance your vehicle at the lowest interest rate ever with TDC Financial Services for as low as $775 per month. We're giving you 1 year free insurance with TDC Insurance Company on selected models. Free insurance? Now that's hot! Save even more with free servicing for up to 1 year. Free licensing, registration, accessories, and tinting. Save thousands and get lit with the hottest summer deal from TDC Automotive. We're number one for a reason. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Another sports in detail. In cricket, Jamaican star batsman and West Indies opener Chris Gayle says he will not be walking away from international cricket anytime soon. Gayle, speaking on a Reggae Sumfest produced program on Saturday night, said he is not about to put down his bat. He stated that because a lot of people talking, I am going to give them 5 more years of international cricket. The 39-year-old Jamaican was expected to announce his retirement from international cricket following the ICC World Cup in England. However, he continues to suggest that he is not ready to leave the game. An article from stlucianewsonline.com stated that in the wake of this, fellow legends such as Curly Ambrose and Andy Roberts said the selectors must now look past the big Jamaican. In athletics, Jamaica beat Great Britain by 0.01 seconds to win the 4x100 meters at the anniversary games in London, thanks to an extraordinary last leg from express train Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. The GB quartet of C.J. Uja, Richard Kitling, Zanel Hughes, and Nathaniel Mitchell Blake won the 4x100 meters relay goal in a time of 37.60 seconds, the second fastest performance of all time by a British relay team. South Africa's Akani Simbini beat Great Britain's Zanel Hughes by 0.02 seconds to win the 100-meter race at the anniversary games in London. That's it for sports. The general weather forecast is next. Welcome back. Another local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight will be partly cloudy with a 20% or slight chance of a brief passing shower. Winds are east with average speeds between 10 to 18 knots or 19 to 33 kilometers per hour with higher spells over elevated terrain. Seas are 1.5 to 2.1 meters or 5 to 7 feet. Small craft operators should exercise caution against choppy seas. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:48 a.m. And that's how wrap up the major news package for today, Tuesday, July 23rd, 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, 2019 Independence theme selected, and ECCB launches digital currency pilot in St. Kitts. Regionally, Antigua's PM launches renewed attack on Digicel as fight over spectrum intensifies. Internationally, Boris Johnson wins race to be sworn in tomorrow as PM. And in sports, Chris Gayle says he will continue for 5 more years international cricket. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashan Tyson, wishing you a pleasant evening.